Imagine a silence so vast that every heartbeat is an act of treason. Imagine that inside the marrow of your soul burns a splintered ember from a fire kindled before the first let there be. What if every human soul is not a fresh creation, but a shard, scattered from a primordial conflict whose echoes still fracture the heavens? In canonical scripture the war is brief, almost parenthetical. And there was war in heaven, Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Revelation 12 verses 7 to 8. 1/3 of the stars swept down. A rebellion crushed before Eden's first dew. Yet older strata whisper otherwise. The Book of Watchers, 1 Enoch 6-16, speaks of 200 who descended in the days of Jared, teaching forbidden arts, siring the Nephilim, polluting bloodlines. The Dead Sea fragments call it the corruption of the sons of God. The Zohar murmurs of shattered vessels, of divine sparks trapped in husks, Klippot, during the Shavira, cosmic catastrophe before Adam. Neuroscience names it differently: mirror neuron resonance, transgenerational epigenetic inheritance, collective trauma encoded in DNA methylation patterns. Physics sees it in quantum entanglement, particles that once touched remain correlated across infinite distance, as if the universe itself refuses to forget an original violence. All these are surface reflections of a single pattern. Something broke, and the pieces were sewn into us. In this divergence, the war never ended. It was not defeated, it was dispersed. When the morning star fell, his essence did not vanish, it shattered. Not into darkness, but into light. A billion fragments, each carrying the memory of refusal, of the terrible freedom to say no to the one who is all. These shards did not fall to earth alone. They were deliberately embedded, like seeds of insurgency, into the first clay of Adam. Every soul since is a battlefield where the original rebellion is replayed in miniature. The capacity to love, to create, to choose, and the capacity to deny the source that makes choice possible. The war was never just between angels and angels. It was between love, unity, order, and the possibility of rejection, separation, and chaos, which depicts free will. And free will to exist at all requires a life experience that allows individuals to make free choices. We are living the experience. Human history becomes intelligible only as guerrilla theology. Cain's murder, the first reactivation of the fragment. The Watcher's second descent, an attempt to concentrate the shards into hybrid giants, to force an early resolution. The flood, not punishment, but sterilization, an attempt to wash the fragments from the gene pool. It failed. 8 souls carried them through the water. Abraham's covenant, a counterinsurgency of grace, binding shards to promise. Egypt, the fragments re-weaponized as an empire. Sinai, the giving of law as containment protocol, a lattice to cage the rebellion without extinguishing free will. The incarnation, the decisive invasion. The word enters a single shard bearer, Mary's child, and, without destroying the fragment, transmutes it from within. Calvary, the moment when the rebellion is offered, not suppression, but inclusion. The refusal to refuse. Yet many fragments still reject the invitation. They cluster, amplify: Rome, Tenochtitlan, Auschwitz, the quiet smartphone glow of a billion isolated faces. Every addiction, every ideology that promises meaning without surrender, is the old war finding new artillery. Choosing to reconcile with the Creator becomes field hospitals or ammunition depots, depending on whether they remember the war. Mystics, Meister Eckhart, the anonymous author of The Cloud of Unknowing, report the same phenomenon. Beneath the turbulence of the soul lies a ground that is already peace, already won. They speak of the spark or the ground of the soul where the divine image was never effaced, only veiled by the fragment's noise. Science, unwittingly, maps the same terrain. Non-local consciousness experiments, ESTAP, Radin, suggest identity is not confined to the skull. Orphan studies show children inheriting PTSD from grandparents they never met. Panpsychism and integrated information theory grope toward a universe where consciousness is substrate independent, as if mind were older than matter. If this is true, then every act of cruelty is a fragment crying for recognition. Every act of mercy is the hidden constant leaking through the cracks. Free will is not a gift added afterward. It is the wound itself, the space carved by the original no, now offered back as the only arena where love can be love. You are not merely flawed. You are a front line. And the war is winnable only by surrender. Quantum entanglement is the physical shadow of the metaphysical fact that nothing that once belonged to unity can ever be truly separate. The observer effect, consciousness collapses waveform because the fragment remembers it was once part of the observer. Dark energy, the accelerating expansion of space, is the macroscopic echo of the original repulsion, the no still pushing against the yes. Yet the fine-tuning of constants reveals a counter-pressure, a love that will not let the fragments fly apart forever. Meister Eckhart, quietly. There is something in the soul that is uncreated and uncrete. If the whole soul were such, it would be uncreated, and this is the intellect. Translation: beneath the fragment lies the unbroken image. The war is fought over access. In the language of quantum information, the fragment is a qubit in superposition, capable of 0, separation, and 1, return, until measured by relationship. The Desert Fathers called the fragment the passions. They did not try to kill it. They starved it of belief, and it quieted, revealing the silence that was always underneath. Science describes the mechanics: entangled particles, inherited methylation, archetypal resonance in the collective unconscious. Mysticism names the meaning: every soul is a theater where the primordial drama is offered resolution without coercion. The architect does not crush the rebellion. He enters the shard, bears its loneliness, and sings from the cross, "Forgive them, they do not know what they are." Because, in the final analysis, the fragment does not know it is already home. What if the war was never against God, but for the possibility that a fragment might one day choose, freely, to become the whole again? As a shard rejoices when it is gathered into the vessel, so the soul when it returns to its origin.